Hello, friends, and welcome to another class by Daily English Classroom. Today, it's a live telecast or live streaming for the lesson The Ballad of Father Gilligan, which is there in the 10th standard textbook. So, let's learn this poem, The Ballad of Father Gilligan. The Ballad of Father Gilligan. When you are learning this, the first thing that you have to remember is that it is a ballad. Now, what's a ballad? A ballad is a poem that tells a story and it uses simple language. It has got a stanzaic structure, and this one is for singing. So of course there will be a rhyme scheme, etc. for a ballad. And this poem called The Ballad of Father Gilligan has got all the features of a ballad. That means it tells a story. Of course, it tells the story of a priest who lives in Ireland, and it has got a stanzaic structure. It has got 12 stanzas, right? So it has got a stanzaic structure. It tells a story. It uses simple language, and it is for singing. And of course, there is rhyming words, plenty of rhyming words, and also this one has got a rhyme scheme as well. And we will see all the features of this poem in this live session. And let us start with this poem. And before we start the poem, we should have an idea about the poet. The poet is he is an Irishman, someone from Ireland, and he is the founder of the Abbey Theatre and one of the leading literary figures who contributed a lot to the English literature from Ireland. And his name is W.B. Yeats, or what we shortly call W.B. Yeats. Let's read what is given in your textbook. William Butler Yeats, 1865 to 1939, is an Irish poet and one of the foremost figures of 20th century literature. In 1923, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature for his inspired poetry. Yeats is one of the few writers who completed his greatest works after being awarded the Nobel Prize, which include The Tower and The Winding Stair and other poems. So he is a Nobel Prize winner. He is a Nobel laureate who has won the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1923. And his most important works come after he got the Nobel Prize. And his most important works are The Tower, which was published in the year 1928, and The Winding Stair and other poems, which was published in the year 1929. So let's go to this ballad and understand what is the story of this ballad. Okay, the Ballad of Father Gilligan. Let's read the first stanza of the poem. The old priest Peter Gilligan was weary night and day, for half his flock were in their beds or under green swords lay. This is the first stanza of the poem. It tells the story of an old priest, and a priest has got his own parish, and he is in charge of the people living in the parish, and he is doing the spiritual matters of all the people in the parish, and he is of course an old man. So this is the story. So remember, I told you earlier that a ballad tells a story. This one is the story of Father Gilligan. He was an old priest who lived in a country side in Ireland. The old priest, Peter Gilligan, was very night and day. Very means tired. He was very tired night and day because something wrong has happened to the people in that place. He is in charge of a parish, and there were so many families in that parish. And there was some kind of an epidemic. Remember the word epidemic. Epidemic means a disease that is spreading very fast and killing so many people. So it happened. The background is so many years ago, and many people were dying because of this epidemic, and there was no cure or medicine for this epidemic. And every day, many people die. People were dying and dying every day, and he is the priest, and his duty is to do the funeral service and also the last communion, or the communion given to those who are dying. And the priest who was in charge of the parish was doing his service, funeral service to the people in the parish. And because of the death of many people, every day many people are dying and dying, and he went for doing all the funeral service, and so he was so tired. He did not get any time to take rest because one after another he is going to different places to meet people and to pray for the people who are on their deathbed. So he was very busy and he did not get any time to take rest. So he was tired because he was running all the time after those who are dying, doing their funeral rites and all these things. So he was very and tired, and there was no rest for Father Gilligan because of this epidemic which is killing more and more people every day. And for half his flock were in their beds or under green swords lay. Here the word for has got the meaning of because, the reason. Why was Father Gilligan weary? Why was he tired? I think it's the first question in your textbook. And why was he tired? Because the people were dying daily, every day. People were dying, and this epidemic has killed so many people. This disease was spreading so fast that it killed so many people that every day he is busy with doing the funeral service, the burying of the people, and the half of the people are already dead. So in a parish, a priest is in charge of his parish, and in the parish there are so many families, and half of the total number of the people is already dead, and they are now in their graves. And so the word under green swords lay. The green swords refer to the grave where the people are buried. So half of the people are already dead, and half of them are also in a similar situation, and they are about to die. That means they are sick, already affected by this disease, and they are waiting for their death, and they are on their deathbeds. So half of his flock, and remember the word flock. Flock, we use the word flock usually referring to a group of sheep. And this one comes from the imagery of Jesus Christ as a shepherd and the people in the world as sheep. And similarly, a priest is considered as a shepherd according to the Christian belief, and the people in the parish are the flocks or the sheep in the parish. So half of his flock means half of the people in his parish. Okay, half of the people in his parish are dead, and half of them are waiting for their death. They are affected by this epidemic and they will die. They will die at any time. They are on their sick bed. So, this is the condition, and being the priest, the the priest Father Gilligan was so sad and upset because he cannot do anything. People are dying every day. More and more people are affected by this deadly disease, and people are dying daily. And so the priest was very sad. He doesn't know what to do. So, this is the situation that we can understand from the first stanza of the poem. And one more feature of the ballad. Remember, a ballad has got a sudden opening, and the first stanza is something a sudden beginning. We are not given any special information about what actually happening or what is the background of the poem. It begins suddenly like this: the old priest Peter Gilligan was weary night and day. This is another feature of a ballad. So remember that also. Sometimes there is a question to write. Do you agree that this poem is a ballad? What are the points you have to confirm that this is a ballad? So there you can write all these points. Okay, so I think the first stanza is clear to you. It talks about a priest, a poor priest, a very dedicated and pious priest who was feeling very upset about the death of the people in his parish, and every day more and more people are dying and he doesn't know what to do, and he was very busy doing the funeral service for these people, and as a result he did not get any time to take rest or sleep, and he was tired or weary because of these things. Now let's go to the second stanza. Once while he nodded in a chair, at the moth hour of the eve, another poor man sent for him, and he began to grieve. He began to grieve. Okay, so once when he nodded in his chair, nodded, what do we mean by the word nod? Nod means actually to move your head. To give a meaning that you don't like something, you will say no or yes. This movement is called nodding. And here the word nodding means he is sleeping. So because he was doing all this work all this day and he was very tired, so he was really sleepy. So he was dozing off. After some time he falls asleep. So nodding in his chair means he's sleeping. So when he was sleeping, because he doesn't get any time to sleep at night, he was very busy with doing the funeral service. So he didn't sleep for a few days. So when he was sitting there on the chair, he fell asleep, and he was nodding in the chair at the moth hour of the eve. That's very important. Moth is an insect that comes on two times. That means one in the morning time and one in the evening time. The moth hour. So remember the background of the poem. It is in the Middle Ages. So many years ago, when there were no clock or watches, people used to tell the time by seeing the different changes happening in nature. So the moth hour is an indication that it's getting late. There is a moth hour in the morning, and also there is a moth hour in the evening. And this one is talking about the moth hour in the evening. That means a particular time when this insect started flying all around. So it was the evening time, the moth hour. There were no clocks, watches, etc. And people tell the time by observing the different things happening in the nature. So they call moth hour, and the morning time they would say the time of the birds singing, etc. Because it happened so many years ago. And it was the time of the moth hour, and a poor man sent for him. So our priest, Father Gilligan, was sitting there on a chair, and since he was tired, he was sleepy, and he was in a sleepy mood. And at that time, a man came there informing the priest that he needs to come fast to a house because one man is about to die. And he told him, Father, please come. This person is going to die and he is on his deathbed. Please come. And Father Gilligan, he was tired and sleeping, and he became angry because he was disturbed in his sleep. And he was so tired that he got angry, and he started talking to God and complaining to God, and he was crying or complaining, and he started to grieve. Grieve here means he started complaining to God. Oh, what a situation is this! What is happening to my people in my parish? Every day, so many people are dying. I have no rest. I don't have time to sleep. What will I do? And he was complaining to God, oh God, why this is happening to me? Why this is happening to the people in my parish? He was crying like this, and he said these words, next stanza, I have no rest, nor joy, nor peace, for people die and die. And after cried he, God, forgive, my body spake not I. So what is the meaning of this stanza? He was angry, he was disappointed and sad, and he was talking to himself, and he was complaining to God, oh God, why this is happening to me? What will I do? I have no rest, I have no time to sleep, I have no rest, no happiness, only sadness, no peace. And he started crying, because here again the word for is used with the meaning because people die and die. What will I do? What will I do? I have no peace, no time to sleep, no rest. Oh God, what will I do? Why you are giving all these things to me? And he started crying. But the next moment he remembers that he is a priest and he has the duty to take care of the people in his parish. It is the divine duty given to him to take care of the people in his parish without complaining. Who is he to complain to God? That thought comes to his mind. He's talking to God. I should not be so rude and angry towards God, because God knows everything. I am just a servant of God. I don't have the right to complain to God. So again, he said to himself, oh God, please forgive me for what I said. I said, why this is happening to me? I have no joy, no happiness, no peace. He said like this to God, and he asked forgiveness from God for being so rude and talking this type of words to God. Oh God, please forgive me. It is not I who said it, but my body. Spake is an old archaic word for speak. So he complained to God, and he feels sorry about what he said. And he said, he finds a justification, and he says, it is not I who said it, but my body. My body. What is the meaning of that? It is not my words. I didn't say it intentionally. It is because I am tired. My body is very much tired. My body is speaking, not my mind. I'm sorry for what I said. And he prayed to God, and he started praying to God, asking forgiveness from God for talking this type of rude words to the Almighty God. My body, please forgive me. It was not me, but my tired mind, my tired body said these words. Oh God, please forgive me. He said to God. And next stanza, he knelt and leaning on the chair, he prayed and fell asleep. And the moth hour went from the fields and stars began to peep. So he was praying to God, oh God, please forgive me for my ignorance. I complain to you, please forgive me. I should not say like this because I am a priest. Please forgive me. And then he started praying, oh God, please forgive me. And he closed his eyes, and because he was very tired, he fell asleep. He was sitting there on the chair, but he was sleeping. He didn't know that he was sleeping because he was very tired, and he fell into a deep sleep that he didn't know the passage of time. He was sitting there for hours sleeping, and slowly the evening time became twilight, then it became dark, then it became night, then it became midnight, and at midnight there appeared stars in the sky. And all these words here referring to the passage of time. The priest was not aware of the passage of time because he was very tired. He spent so many sleepless nights doing his religious service to the people, so that he just fell into a deep sleep, and he slept for many hours without knowing the fact that he has to go to that house of the person who came there asking him to go to his to come to his house. And slowly the moth hour changed into night. At night there appeared stars in the sky. The stars began to peep in the sky. And the next stanza, they slowly into millions grew. The leaves shook in the wind. The God covered the world with shade and whispered to the mankind. This stanza talking about the passage of time. It is getting midnight. So we can see it is getting dark, then it became more and more dark, then it become night, midnight, and the priest was sleeping. He has no idea that he was sleeping. And slowly the stars started to grow. Millions and millions of stars appeared in the sky. So here they stands for the stars. The stars slowly into millions grew, and leaves shook in the wind. This wind referring to the light wind that comes in the early morning. So 6 or 7 hours he slept, sitting there on the chair. He was not aware of the passage of time. He was not aware of the fact that it is getting night and now it is early morning, when the slow wind started to blow, and it was the night. And God covered the world with shade and whispered to mankind. God is the Almighty. Almighty means the most powerful, and He is omnipresent, omnipotent. Omnipotent means who has the potential to do anything, and omnipresent means God is an attribute of God. That means he can come at any place, anywhere, and he knows about human beings. He loves human beings. And why did God create at night? God created night to give comfort and solace to the human beings. The night is a time for taking rest, sleeping. God arranged the night so that those who are working during daytime, they get some time to take rest. So He created the stars, He created the darkness, and He made everything is ready for a complete rest, so that you will be comfortable when you wake up the next morning. So God has made night for people to take rest, to relax, and to sleep. And that's why he covered the earth, he covered the sky with stars and with shade, so that people can take rest and sleep peacefully. And let's see the next stanza. Upon the time of sparrow chirp, when the moths come once more, the old priest Peter Gilligan stood upright on the floor. So he continued sleeping till the next morning. So he wakes up from his sleep only in the next morning when he heard the sound of birds. The birds singing in the morning. So you can understand that how much time he slept. He slept because it was not his fault, because he was tired. That's why he slept for a long time. And he wakes up only in the next morning hearing the sound of the birds, the sparrows chirp. The sparrow chirp means it's the time early morning when the birds start singing. And moth hour came once more. I told you in the beginning there is two moth hours, one in the evening and one in the morning. So the moth hour of the morning comes. That means now the time is early morning, or what you call the dawn. And he wakes up from his sleep, and suddenly he was aware of the time, and he was so sad because he missed something. He remembers a person coming to him and asking him to come and come to the house of a dying man, and he was angry with that man and sent him away. And actually he was tired, and but he really wants to go to that house, but physically, because he was very tired, he could not go to that house. So when he wakes up from his sleep, the first thing that comes to his mind is a kind of prick of conscience that he neglected his duty. He is supposed to be there in the house of that dying man, and he neglected his duty. He slept on the chair. He didn't go there and give the last communion to the dying man, the last sacrament to the dying man. So it is a serious mistake. So what he has done is a sin. He forget his duty and he did not go to the house of the dying man. So that fear of God made him so nervous and panic that he wakes up from his sleep, and he was so upset. He wants to reach the house of that man and to give him the last communion, so that he can save the soul of that person. A person who tells all his sins and accepts the Holy Communion will go to heaven. But if a person dies without this last rite, then that man will surely go to hell. That soul will be lost forever. So it was a grave mistake from the part of the priest that he was not there in the house of the dying man, and he could not perform the divine duty that is assigned to him. So he was so upset, he was so panic, and then what he said, Mavron, Mavron, the man has died while I slept in the chair. He roused his horse out of its sleep and rode with little care. So there was only one thought in his mind, and that is to reach the house of that man as fast as possible before his death, and to give him the last rites. There was only one thought in his mind, and he stood up and go to the stable and arranged his horse. The horse was also sleeping because it was early morning. So he wakes up the horse. The horse was also sleeping, and he aroused the horse and from its sleep, and he went to that house of the dying man. And he was not caring about his own safety because he was so panic. He was so afraid about his failure as a priest, and he was riding his horse very recklessly, without caring for himself. He was not caring. It is very dangerous. He has to travel through the mountains and hilly, marshy land in the early morning when there was not enough light. But he takes a risk and he rides his horse as fast as possible because he wants to reach there in the house of the dying man as fast as possible and to give him the last ride so that the soul of that person can be saved from damnation. So Mavron here means, oh my God, I missed my duty. I failed in my duty. I could not go to that house. I want to reach his house and help him. I want to go and to meet that man before he dies. What will happen if that man dies before accepting the last communion? And he was so upset and he wrote very fast, and nobody has ever ride the horse like this because his mind was so upset, so nervous, and he wants to reach there in time. Rouse is the present tense, roused is the past tense. And out of sleep and wrought with little care. He rode now as he never rode by rocky lane and fen. The sick man's wife opened the door. Father, you come again? So this stanza is very important because this shows the tension in the mind of Father Gilligan. He was in a hurry to reach that house, and without caring for his own safety, he rode very fast and reached the house of that man. And he traveled through the risky area of the hills and the lane, fen, marshy land, etc., and reached there in front of the house of the dying man. And the sick man's wife opened the door, and remember what she said to the priest? That gives us a clue about what actually happened. And she asks like this, Father, you come again? Why did she say, Father, you come again? Did Father Gilligan go there before? No. What was Father Gilligan doing? He was sleeping on his chair. But this woman says that Father Gilligan was there. That's why she says the word again. Father, you come again. It means he was there. He came there earlier. Now he is coming a second time. Father, you come again. And Father Gilligan was surprised. Why this woman is talking like this? Why is she saying, come again? Because I am coming the first time. I didn't come here earlier. And she said, Father, you come again. Let's see why this woman say like that. And is the poor man dead? He cried. He died an hour ago. The old priest Peter Gilligan in grief swayed to and fro. He did not give an answer to this question, Father, you come again. But he asked one question, is the man alive or is he dead? And the woman, the sick man's wife, told him that he died just 1 hour ago. And Father Gilligan was so sad because he failed the divine duty of saving a soul from damnation. This man, without acknowledging all the sins to a priest, died, so his soul will go to hell, not to heaven. So it was a sad thing. It was a sad thing for Father Gilligan, and he swayed to and fro. That shows the tension, the sadness in his mind. He was so grief-stricken that he was completely lost in sadness because he failed in his duty. Actually, he has to come there before the death of the man and give him to perform the last rites. He failed, and he was so sad. But the next words of the sick man's wife gave him some comfort. And what did she say? Next stanza. When you were gone, he turned and died as merry as a bird. The old priest, Peter Gilligan, he knelt him at that word. So, what was the reply of the sick man's wife? He, when you were gone, that means Father Gilligan was there. But how? The Father Gilligan was sleeping there on the chair. But he was there in the sick man's house, and he gave the Holy Communion, the last rites of the man, the sacrament. He gave the sacrament to the man. And what happened after that? The man died as merry as a bird. As merry as a bird is a wonderful expression. It is a simile. As merry as a bird is an example of simile. Very important. This may come for the examination. What is the speciality of this line? This is an example of simile. The man, the dying man, is compared to a bird. A bird, usually we think about birds as very happy. That's why they are singing. So the birds are very happy, and so they are singing. So this man was also very happy. Why was this man happy when he was dying? Because who came there? It was not Father Peter Gilligan. He was sleeping on his chair, but it was an angel. The angel came to the house of the dying man as Father Gilligan. So that's why the sick man's wife has said, Father, you come again, because he was there. And it was not Father Gilligan, it was an angel sent by God, because God knows everything and He is present everywhere and He can do anything. The God really interfered here because He wants to save the priest and also the sick man. And why did God interfere here and come to the house of the sick man as Father Gilligan? Because God wants to save the two persons, Father Gilligan and the sick man. If the man dies without getting the last communion, then he will be lost. His soul will be lost, and Father Gilligan will also be will suffer from that because of his failure in his duty. So in that situation, God is someone who is reading our mind, not what we perform, not what we perform. God reads our mind. He understands our heart, and He understands that it was not the fault of the priest. He sat there not because he was reluctant to go for doing his duty, but he was tired, and so it was not his fault. And the sick man should get the last communion. So God came to the house, or God sent an angel to the house of the dying man, and that angel looked like Father Gilligan. That's why the sick man's wife to ask the priest, Father, why you come again? So, hearing this, Father Gilligan, he knelt there on the ground and prayed to God. Thank God for saving me and this man. And he understood what actually happened, because he knows he was sleeping there. And who came here as Father Gilligan? It is God. And now we understand why this man died as merry as a bird. He died peacefully. He died happily because he may have seen God in that man who came there. So the man died peacefully, happily, because he met God. He met God. He may understood. He may understand. He may have understood that it was an angel. So he died with a smile on his face. He died peacefully as merry as a bird. And Father Gilligan understood that, and so he knelt there on the ground and prayed to God. And next stanza, he who hath made the night of stars for souls who tire and bleed, sent one of these great angels down to help me in my need. These are the words of Father Gilligan. He tells that God knows everything. He knows that I was tired, and he sent an angel to help me. To help me, he sent an angel. He understands it. And he stood there with a folded hand and he prayed to God. Thanks for helping me. And God is someone who created the universe. He is omnipotent and omnipresent. He is there everywhere. He understands everyone. He reads the mind of the people. He understands everything. He who is wrapped in purple robes with planets in his care had pity on the least of things asleep upon a chair. So these words talks about God. God is wrapped in a purple robes. He is wearing a red robes. And what is there in his hand? In his hands there is the planets, earth, everything, universe. He is someone who is taking care of all these things. He has all the power to control everything, and he is controlling everything, and he has got the planets, and he loves human beings, and he understands people. He understands the mind of the people, and his great love for human beings can be understood, because when Father Gilligan was sleeping or he was tired, he sent an angel to solve it. And the God, Father Gilligan says that God may have felt pity for him. He felt sympathy for this man who was sleeping there because he was tired, and therefore he sent an angel to help the priest and also the sick man. So the last words, the last stanza, we can see the words of Father Gilligan, which is like an acknowledgement of what God has done to him. The God may have felt sympathy or pity for this poor creature or this poor least of things. Father Gilligan is a very humble person, and he thinks that he is least important a person, but God is taking care of him, and he sent an angel to help Father Gilligan. So that's the last stanza of the poem, and I hope that you have understood this poem thoroughly. So thanks for watching, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe, because I'm planning to do more live classes. And thank you very much for listening to this class. Tell your friends also about this class. So thanks for watching and have a nice day.